recording. And where are we at? We are at the rest stop on the Fine Freeway. We just got off the 138 and coming from Palmdale to going back up to Sacramento. And you can hear, got Dandy Bird in the car with me. So now I have to figure out how to freeway, it says. Maybe follow the truck. Nope, follow the sign that says freeway. Freeba. Who remembers Freeba? Look at those big old crows. Did you see them sitting there picking through the trash? You know, those crows are like homeless people. They pick through the trash, but they don't pick up after themselves. So we are kind of at the area called the Grapevine, and I'm gonna take the 5 freeway home so you can see entrance 5, and I want to take north, and so's Mr. Truck ahead of me. On the other side is the other rest stop. All those trucks are lined up for the night. And go. To Home Ranch. So we're at the top, pretty much. There's a truck that just passes that has rocks, gravel, but I think it's all decorative stuff because it's kind of packed carefully. So there's that. You can hear Dandy Bird. I got Dandy Bird next to me. And so I thought, let me put up these windows. Going through the Tehachapi Mountains. And there's moo cows out there. And if you look among the moo cows, the deers will hang out with them in the evenings. Make sure I got my lights on still. Yeah. Go traveling with my dad. When we were younger, we'd take road trips with my dad, and he'd be nodding and bobbing and looking all over, and because he's looking for deer. And he'd go, look up that canyon. You see any deer up there? There should be deer up there. So now I can't go through the mountains or take drives like this without looking for deer. Okay, I see you. Go, Mr. Policeman. Fort to Home exit. I had a really nice visit. I got, let's see, two of the three things accomplished. I, I made this trip to do, so that's a good thing. I may have to do one more trip down here to get the other one accomplished. We'll see. I tell you, this is time. This is the engine. Well, the engine on this truck is the biggest engine I think I ever had. My very first car was a Chevy Impala, had a 297 in it. But I don't think that was bigger than this. But this is a V8. Boy, it does not get good gas mileage. I'll tell you that. But these are the hills of Southern California. And that's one thing I miss about down here. I miss these hills. I just went out to 138. I should have took video then, but I didn't want it to get too big or too long. But there is the poppies. I didn't see any at the Poppy Preserve. I didn't see any, but I did see fields of the purple flowers. And I think that's the lupins. So fields of purple I did see, but I didn't see fields of orange. But might be, they have better weather sooner than Northern California does. Maybe past the poppy season. There we go. On the other side of the hill, you can see the rest of the Central Valley of California stretched out ahead of us. That water right there is a holding pond for something. Not sure what's that for. But we'll be seeing, okay, trucks. We'll be seeing the aqueduct pretty soon that carries water from Northern California to Southern California. There's the Central Valley of California. All this area, I don't know how many millions of years ago, but it was all an inland sea, kind of like Baja. Baja used to extend all the way through and all the way up to almost Reading, because you can go out over the sides of the freeway here, dig in the dirt, and find shells and shark's teeth and whalebone, and it's all fossilized, whalebone, dolphin vertebrae. It's actually whale vertebrae because whales and dolphins don't really have bones. And but you can dig, and that's what you can find actually out toward our right is would be Bakersfield up against those hills toward the right as we get past this truck. I don't know if I can turn this. No, doesn't turn. But I can pull it up so you can kind of see. And see the sky here. Let's do this. But out there next to Bakersfield is areas where you can go hunt shark's teeth. There's an area called Shark Tooth Hill. There's an area called Ant Hill. There is a museum, and he's got a ton of shark's teeth in there that have all been found in that area. And that's because of, I guess I better slow it down, Sherry. Come on, trucks, out of the way. Yeah, CHP's hiding up here somewhere, Mr. Truck. We don't have room yet. Okay. I gotta get over one. Stay on the 5. So I don't want to go to the 99. I don't like the 99. I like the 5. Okay, how far do you get along? That's what I thought. Okay. Go. But what I was saying, all this area was an inland sea at one time. Way back when, millions of, however many millions, I forget right now. 5 north, that's where the 5 and the 99 split off. I like the 5. So, taking the 5. And what it was, is where the whales would migrate up this, just like they still do. They go up Baja, and they migrate up there. That's where they have their babies. And then when the babies get big enough, then they'll migrate back up north. That's why whale watching works so well here off the coast in Oxnard and Ventura and San Diego. And they would come up into this area and they'd have their babies, and the sharks, knew. So it was sad, but babies became um, prey. And so there's tons of shark's teeth all over. Because I don't know if you know how shark's teeth work, but they are constantly renewing their teeth. Just like human babies, when they get to a certain age, the adult's teeth comes through and pushes baby tooth out, right? Well, in sharks, when they lose a tooth because, of eating or whatever happens, then a new tooth pushes through. And they're actually in layers, and they fold toward the front. So there's like half circles, layers and layers of half circles of teeth inside a shark's jaw. And those layers will stand up and replace teeth when they lose them. So when you dig in areas where sharks hang out, you will find tons and tons and tons of shark's teeth, because of that losing. And they also had a shark called a megalodon, which was as big as a whale. Can you imagine? And it was a flesh-eating shark. So it's like a white tip or a great white shark. And it was enormous. And it had these big, giant teeth, like as big as dinner plates. And you can find megalodon teeth. And I've never found one, but would be cool. Someday. Oops, sorry. I have to watch my camera tends to drift. So that's the story of the Central California. This was way before. Well, I'm sure there was some kind of humans here. I don't know whether they were from Mongolia. I don't know whether they were at the point they were Native Americans. I don't know what they called the indigenous people who were here at that time. I don't remember that. So there's pecan groves, that actually looks like almonds to our right. Trucks to our left. Big truck, Danny Bird. Big truck. Yeah. There's another big truck. Big truck, Danny Bird. And there's grapes. So somebody's got a winery. Probably out over there. See the big vats. picking and dates at the little purple barn. Honey and jam. Ooh, there must be cherry trees next to us. Little, whoop, Danny, you okay? He lost his footing and bumped his chin. Are you okay? Howie? There's a field that's ready to be planted. There's a field. And there might be strawberries out there. Boy, out in Oxnard, they're picking strawberries like crazy. And avocados. I should have went to the store and grabbed some California avocados. I'm sure I can find them up Sacramento. There's Matt. My friend Matt is going to be traveling to. Ooh, we just went through a bunch of bugs starting. He's going to be traveling and going to, I think he said Half Moon Bay. And there is a creek, and I can't remember the name of the creek, but that flows down out into the ocean there. And at both ends of Half Moon, I think it's Turtle Bay, something like that. I'll find out. And on one end, you can find jasper, and it's red and yellow and orange, and there's some green in it, but really nice jasper, and some nice agatized jasper as well. And then on the other end, there's agates that come out of this other creek, or come down the creek from wherever it is up, wherever they come from. So I have to let him know. See if you got time, wander down to the end of the beach. See if you can find yourself some pretty jasper. Let's see if this truck, no, he'll stay over there. A lot of times, don't do this when you go on road trips. You wait, whoa, that guy's wakey. Wait till the last minute to move over when you're coming up on a slow truck. And I hate it when trucks do that. Somebody's coming up on the side of you. And I totally get it. You don't want to slow down and all of that. But you make the other person have to slow down. And what if the other person's not paying attention? Or the other person panics because they're not that great of a driver? I hate it when they decide, uh-oh, there's somebody coming, I better move over so I can get around the slow guy in front of me. Drives me crazy. So there's some trees. I'm not sure what kind of trees those are. It's got kind of big leaves on it. What dandy bird? Yeah, good bird, dandy bird. So as I was saying, it was a good trip. I may decide to make one more trip down here so I get the last thing accomplished that I need to. Okay, seriously? You didn't see the guy was going slow before he moved over mine. I think I was talking about it's the first time I ever have had a vehicle with a V8 engine in it. And oh, look at all the moo cows. Look at all the steaks, and ribs, and beef roasts, and Wellingtons. Ooh, beef Wellington. And boy, does a V8 eat the gas. I tell you. So on the road going like this, the truck is telling me that I'm getting about almost 17 miles a gallon. 17 whole miles a gallon. So, and I don't, since the truck's so new to me, I don't know when it will actually run out of gas. How close to E can I get? Because come on, face it, we all push it down to close as E as we can. You know, sometimes your finances, you just wait till the next paycheck before you fill up the tank, you know. And but I don't like to go too far below a quarter of a tank, and especially now that I haven't been with this car for so long. Dandy, really need to hush. You just sing songs. Okay. Dandy's gonna sing us some songs. bird, Dandy bird. It's a pretty bird, Dandy bird. Yep, there you go. Now the, the sun's behind a big black cloud here to our left. We'll be coming out. We'll have some more light here in a little bit. This video's looking kind of dark, huh? And it is, what time is it? It is 6:10. So I probably have 20 or 50 miles to go. Let's see, what is this thing? Sacramento. Oh, I missed it. I think it was 270 something. So that means if I'm going 70 miles an hour, okay, kids, math quiz. We're just gonna say the speed limit is 70 miles an hour. Okay? So I'm doing 70 miles an hour. If I have 270 miles to go, at 70 miles an hour, how long is it going to take me to get there? So let's see. 70 times 3 is 210. 70 times 4 is 280. So 210 plus 60 is 270. So 3 hours, almost 4 hours to go. So it'll be close to 10 o'clock before I roll in to my house. As long as I don't hit too much traffic. And that is saying I'm doing 70 miles an hour, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Boy, I tell you, my nose is pretty stuffed. Well, there's your Amazon order. It's on its way. That's what I gotta do tomorrow. Is pick up my Amazon order. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm thinking about heating for each of the buildings. And I want okay, we're talking about Desert Rest. And I know I talk about Desert Rest a lot, and it's probably getting boring. But isn't that the point of this channel? It is not to be boring, but to talk about Desert Rest and what it is that I'm doing. And so, there's lots of decisions to be made. And if all of the different things that I'm thinking about and the decisions that I'm making helps somebody else out, gives them ideas or helps them figure out how to do stuff, then that's what I want to do. That's the point. There's a big old cell tower right there, and a big old raven flying. Look at the cell towers. A whole bunch of them. So, got some more light here now. But, so I'm thinking about heating these buildings, and you want alternatives. You don't want to have just one way of doing everything, or at least most things. Because if you're only set up to do something one way, like heating, if you're only set up to heat your house with propane, what happens if when the propane runs out, and if for some reason you can't get to town or whatever to refill your propane, then you're out of luck. You can't. You're probably cooking with propane too, so your cooker doesn't work, your heater doesn't work, and that can become very uncomfortable after a time. So always, think about alternative ways of doing things. You'll have your main way of doing things, and I have a Camp Chef stove, and then I have the stove inside my fifth wheel, the Blessed Mess, and both of those run off of propane. So I have two stoves with ovens that run off of propane, and so my kitchen house, or the cookhouse that I call it, will have, I can heat it that way. I can also cook that way. Same thing with the Blessed Mess. You can heat it that way. You could also cook with it that way. But again, what happens if the propane runs out? So there's this little stove. It's called, I think, Vespa or Vespar, so something like that. Starts with a V, like Victor, and it takes those little cans of liquid fuel, like you use under a brazier or a food warmer thing when you have a big buffet. And that Vespa thing doubles as a cooker and heater too. And they are, I think I was lucky I found mine on sale for $140. Right now, I was looking them up the other day, and they're at $250 or something. But just watch Amazon. They'll go down in price. And when they do, I'm going to get, I think, one more. And then that way I've got an alternative heat source for another building. you can use that, runs off those, or you can use Esbit tablets in it too, and the little cans of fuel. But it's not set up to do propane unless, I was trying to think, there are those tiny little folding up backpack stoves that run off of propane. And one of those would fit into this Vespa. And then the Vespa, the bottom part is like a long rectangle with a drawer that slides out. And you can line up to 3 cans of this fuel on this drawer, push that drawer in, and you put a grate on top, and then you can put your frying pan on top there. You can use it as a grill. It's probably better with the frying pan. They said you could use it on a grill, but I wouldn't want all that grease dripping inside. I think that'd be a fire hazard. So, set your pan on top, boil your water, do whatever. Then when you finish cooking, there's another unit that fits on top of the unit that has the canned fuel in it, and it's a heater. And when it heats up, it has those fans that go on, like you put on the top of your wood stove, and when it heats up, the fan goes around and pushes air around. So inside this box is one of those heaters. So you set that on top of the Vespa and heat your house. And those cans of fuel will last 6 hours. So before you go to bed, you set up your fuel, and by 4 in the morning or whatever, the fuel will last. But you got heat going all night. And you don't have to use 3 cans at a time. You can use 1 can. You can use 2 cans. But not the 2 cans that come from Madagascar. Get it? 2 cans. Like 2 cans, Sam. So those are pretty cool. So I found those. Then, if you got your solar power set up to the point where you can run a small space heater, you can do that. I also have my Grizzly mini stove. You can run, the little stove. So, but the whole point is to have a backup to your plan, and maybe even a backup for your backup. And then also keep supplies of hand warmers and foot warmers. Because you can put those down in the bottom, of your bed. Keep your feet warm. If you don't have any heat, you can put your knit cap on, put a couple of hand warmers help keep your head warm. Put your mittens on, put hand warmers in your mittens. So just, make sure you keep backups for everything. Even though I'm going to have solar power for everything, I'm also going to follow G-Bear at G-Bear's off-grid ways, a homestead in the desert. I'm basically copying his, setup that he's done. And he has solar power, and he has a wind turbine that helps keep his batteries charged. And then he also has a backup generator. So that's 3 different ways of powering his homestead. And, he's already had instances where he had a big, huge storm and it knocked his solar array down. And he had, I think for a while, it was like half the power until he could get all that back up and running. So you never know what's going to happen. I'm going to use my windshield wipers here and try and clear this windshield of the bug guts. Bug guts. Oh, that didn't work very well, did it? Okay, try again. Let that dry off. Oh, shoot. Is that better? I don't know. I hope I didn't wreck your view. So that's what I'm going to be doing too, is I have a generator. It's my understanding that the Blessed Mess has one of the top end generators in it. It is a gasoline generator, and it's old school. I think the Blessed Mess was built in 1989, and I've actually never had the generator running. I don't know if your video is very good right now. I've never had the generator running, and so it hasn't been a priority. So sooner or later, so that's a Porsche, and that was a Chevy on top, and a Tesla. But I will, eventually have somebody work on that generator and see if get that ready. And so the plan with Desert Rest is for the water well pump. It's going to have its own solar power setup all to itself. And I might be able to use it to charge batteries and stuff too, but mostly that's going to be for the water well. And one of the things that G-Bear taught me is, oh, this guy's coming fast. He's in a hurry. We'll just let this guy slide right on by, and then he can drag out the CHP, and I don't have to worry about it. Not that I'm speeding or breaking the law or anything. You know, I definitely do not recommend that. But, so at Desert Rest, the well has the well pump, and that whole system has got its own solar setup. Right now, I don't have batteries for it, so the only time it can pump water will be during the day. But my plan is to get a couple of batteries within the next 2 or 3 months and hook a battery up to that system. And so it will have its own separate system, its own separate wind turbine as well. And then the plan for the water is I'm going to have a big water tank put up at the top of the property, which is about 100 feet elevation higher than where the water well is. Nobody can go. So it'll be pumped up, so I will have, 100 feet of elevation, gravity-fed water coming out of that water tank that's at the top of the hill. So the well will fill up that water tank, and my plan is to just, fill it up during the daytime. So once it gets to the point where it needs water, then I'll turn on the pump, or it'll actually have its own float, and it'll do it itself. But that whole thing, and then that water will gravity feed down from the top to about the middle, and the middle of the property is where the well is, and where I plan having probably most of the buildings too. And so the water will be gravity fed down to the buildings, down to the pond that's going to be in the greenhouse and the grow house. And then also all the buildings are going to have their own water catchment system. So off their roofs, any rainwater that comes off their roof, this guy must know something because he keeps slowing down. Sacramento, 246 miles. So, just wait, Mr. Truck, till I get by. building will have its own water catchment system, and so if worse comes to worse, I'll have barrels of water next to each of the buildings, probably 100 gallons, or those totes. Those those totes are kind of ugly, but I guess I could make tarps or covers to go over those totes so they're not so ugly. And those totes carry, if I remember right from G-Bears, they carry 275 gallons apiece. So that's a lot. And that can be water catchment off of the roof. So each building, there's 5 buildings, will have 275 gallons apiece. And then I'm thinking 1,500 gallons water tank at the top of the hill, or at the top of the property. So there's an additional 1,500 gallons to supplement whatever's, come down. And I will be irrigating the grow house and the lavender cash crops from probably the pond, because the pond will have ducks, and it'll be, good fertilizer water. And then that way the water in the pond will refresh. Probably, I don't know how often. I have to finish all that research. But I imagine every 3 weeks or so. And the pond is going to be in the grow house, and it's going to be under probably a 70 to a 90% shade cloth. So that'll inhibit a lot of the algae growth in the pond. So these are things, that I'm thinking about all the time. And then once I kind of settle on how things should look, then I start writing down my notes. And I start writing down priorities. So what's priority? Priority is number 1, water. I'm not going up there until I have my water in. And I have everything but the water pipe and the yellow rope that needs to be attached to the water pump when it goes down. And that's just, again, a backup system for if, for whatever reason, the water pipe on the pump breaks and the wiring, the electrical wiring is not enough to hold it, then hopefully the rope will, and it will prevent the water pump from falling to the bottom of the well. So, that's another backup system. that I'll have in place. This song, Dandy. That's the Adams family, believe it or not. Just a singing bird today, Teddy. It's a big crowd. So that's my priority first. And I'm gonna get that done in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm hoping. So I'm putting together a water pump installation party. So if anybody's interested in coming up to the desert, having a party weekend, um, and help put the water pump in, I'm gonna have a big barbecue and horseshoes, and we'll probably have a movie night, and there won't be any place to stay on the property. But if you want to bring your own, you know, you have a camper or a tent, or there's hotels in town, only 12 miles from town. It's not going to be that difficult to do. It's just I don't have the physical strength to do it myself. I know what to do. I know how to go about it. I just don't have the physical strength to do it myself. So if Mike Bowers and all your metal detecting buddies want to come out and do a metal detecting weekend, and I think we can put this well pump in one day, and then you're welcome to stay however long you want and take advantage of the location. And Mike, you know where it is. You're welcome to do that. So that's an invitation, and Mike, I'm going to be contacting you very soon. See, if we can get this put together. I, you know, 2 guys and me can do it. 1 guy and me can do it, but 2 guys, might be easier. It's basically just lifting up the pump, which isn't, in itself that heavy. It's just awkward and unwieldy because it'll have all the wires and all that stuff, and it's going to go down to 250 feet. So gotta lower it to 250 feet and attach all the stuff to it, do the electrical wiring and all of that. I'll have the supplies, I'll have the stakes, and baked potatoes, and we'll just have a good old time. So, there's that. Then you guys can check out the property too. And, you're welcome to come up and use it as a base when you want to go up to that area for metal detecting trips. Because I'm not far from your spot, which I'm not going to say out loud because I know it's not a good thing. Okay, that was kind of close, buddy. Alright, I'll pass you. I see you looking. Let's get a bunch of roofing. I could use a few. One of those pallets. Drop that off in my house. So that's the first thing. Get the water in. Get the water wired up to the solar. And, because the well pump, like I said, is going to be run by solar. And then I need a well house built. And I probably am not going to make that, a priority in the same weekend. Unless, somebody comes up and says, hey, I can come out and we can bash out the well house at the same time. And I would like the well house to have a cement floor, which would encompass the well itself. And so we can pour a cement foundation, but that doesn't have to be done when the well's put in. But I would like, when the well's put in, a faucet. These guys are blocking this truck out. Come on, sillies. Let's not fight. So that's kind of priority 1, 2, and 3 is the water well and the solar system for it. The cement pad around the well and the well pump house built. And I know it's silly, but I want that pump house shaped like Snoopy's doghouse. So I know how I want it to look, because I'm going to use that for different holiday decorations. Have, at Christmas time, have the Peanuts Christmas. See, this guy needs to pass his truck. And He was going to come out in front of me. Now this guy way up here, see, he planned. But I want my pump house to be shaped like Snoopy's doghouse, and then painted red, with sometimes Snoopy's roof is black, sometimes it's white, sometimes it's blue, so I have to decide what color I want it to be. But it also has to be big enough for a human to fit inside. So there's all that. And then also needs that well needs to have faucets and spigots and stuff so I can run hoses around the property, and eventually it will run a line from the well house up to the top for the water